Hello, hello, and welcome. This is your full moon reading for November. Thanks for being with me. I'm Iworiosa. My temple is Moon Garden Temple. This is a 3-card pull. The first card is going to be about the desire, the prayer, what you wish to manifest. The second is about the block. What's in the way? The third is going to be the magic, the power, what can help you get to that place where you've manifested that desire, where your prayer comes true, where the change, the experienceable change has happened. I'm using the Carolyn Miss archetype cards. The beautiful thing about archetypes is it's a great structure to understand yourself and your interpersonal skills and your emotional vibration interactions much better. If you hear archetypes that you don't necessarily identify with, they do live in you somewhere in your bloodline, somewhere. One of your ancestors or one of your spirits really held that archetype very strongly. It was a big part of their makeup. So you will be able to relate no matter what. So I'm going to just pull all 3 cards right now from this deck. I'm only using this deck today. And I will post the cards somewhere in this video so you can see them. Okay, so the first card is priest, and I'll post that right there. So we're talking about the desire, and we're talking about the priest or priestess. We're talking about that spiritual energy that's channeled within. If you've heard the idea of a hollow bone, it's that thing where it's like you are an opening for the divine, the spirit vibrations, however you see that part of life that's outside of yourself that you receive from. Being that hollow bone when it comes to your desire that you want to create, that you pray for, that you want to manifest. It's really about allowing your brain, that human part of you, to like step aside and be that hollow bone where everything can come in to feed like the steps that you take to create that dream, the different aspects of that dream. That's like, you know what you want to create, but there's certain details that you do need to get clear on. It's like, if you can't figure those out for yourself, then it's time to open and receive through spirit, right? It's time to quiet down everything around you so you can hear what's going on inside. Like all of our best stuff, all of the, when we talk about manifestation and we talk about getting our prayers answered, that stuff doesn't usually happen in a way that's like loud, it's this way and here's the path and these are the things you're supposed to do. It's almost always this, when we're in our moments when we can be receivers from within, receivers from above, receivers from the energy that has our best interests, that is intertwined with our own desires. When our ancestors are talking to us, it's when we're in those open places, right? So find a way to quiet down your environment so that you can create this desire. Quiet down your environment so that you can receive and you can hear your spirit talking. That's what the priest card is a priestess card is about. Be one with that spiritual desire. As you can see in the card, there's if you've heard the term as above, so below, everything that we create in this world, every desire that becomes real is part of what exists in other dimensions, in other spiritual dimensions. So you can see there's one person in the card going like this, and there's one person going like this. They're above and below. So it's like this magnetic drawing that happens when we really want to manifest something. We don't do it alone. It's not just in our heads. It's not just like us doing things. It's also an alignment of vibration and the opening to receive from above, to make here below in this world. So that's about your desire on this full moon, is in simple terms, get in touch with your spiritual power and allow yourself to receive what's coming in to help you. In the most simple terms I can give you. That's what it is. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the blocks that are in your way, and what comes out is the seeker. You can see this person sort of, going through this vast desert. And I'm going to talk about the shadow attribute because that's what I'm drawn to here. It's this inability. It says on the card that you're not committing to a path, right? And so I can say, we just had a season change. This always happens in a season change. You'll notice like our attention goes here and then it goes there and it's there. It's like we're receiving. One of the most beautiful things about any transition, whether it's like you're driving to a place and then you're getting out of your car to go to a party. You're coming from your home, you're in your car, you're going to a party. That transition time in your car and from your car to the party, that's a really interesting time where like energy is sensing that has to shift, where your perception starts to shift. It's very different being alone in your car and careening down a highway. Like your receptors, what you're receiving, the energy the fields that you're in is very different than maybe going to that party, being face to face with people. Maybe there's alcohol, maybe there's food and drink. You're in somebody else's house that has its own collective energy. So the transition time between those times is a really juicy time to find out like what's needed inside, to listen to you're being prepared for like the next thing. It's the same thing when we're sleeping. Before we go to sleep, there's this place right before we fall asleep. It's transition. Sometimes it's where the most powerful dreams happen. Same thing of the transition of sleep to awake. Sometimes the most powerful dreams just come in right before we wake up. That's, even though fall just happened like 2 weeks ago, we still are in this transition time where we have some fall autumn weather, and we're feeling a little bit, we're feeling some of the summer heat. There's like still a little bit of heat in the air, and we're transitioning into fall where like the leaves have been falling for a while. When that time happens, our attention tends to like get really strong on just everything around us. We start to think about like, how am I going to transition into this season? We start to think about like, okay, I've been cold for a while. I need to like change my windshield wipers. I need to like get my furnace fixed because like, the cold is coming. Our attention starts to get split in transition times. So in this season, especially in this season, if you find yourself splitting your energy and your attention in a whole bunch of places, focus, right? Now, it doesn't mean that you got to get all intellectual about it and like, make it a regimen for yourself or make it something unattainable for you. It just means be mindful of yourself going in too many different directions, especially if the desire that you want to create, if you really feel that strongly, if there's something in you want to manifest or create, like, just know that like it's possible. This is a great time to do it. That's why we're talking right now. Focus yourself in whatever way. You can do that with breath work. You can do that with just, you can do that simply and logically just by like taking things off your calendar, right? There's so many different ways to just focus yourself. If you have so much going on, you have kids in the house, you have all this stuff, just finding your times to take a step away and breathe on a consistent and regular basis, to take your 10 minutes in the morning to only focus on your prayer or your whatever you do, a vision board or whatever it is that you do to manifest this desire that you have. Find your focus. Pay attention to where you're focusing, right? The last thing, because that was talking about the block. Now we're talking about like the magic that will help you get to like where it is that you want to be. And that is the guide, right? So the guide, here's an owl. And I know like in some cultures, the owl is like, no. And in some cultures is like, great. But what it's suggesting is like the mentorship, the something outside of yourself. And I'm talking about outside of spirit, right? The thing that's outside of yourself, the person, the animal, maybe it is an owl, the leadership you might be following, and maybe even just a system. Like, allow yourself in whatever it is that you're creating, allow yourself to be led, seek guidance, seek a guide that is very knowledgeable, that has wisdom on what it is that you want to create. Especially out there, I talk to a lot of you out there who are creators, who do create communities, and sometimes it does feel like, especially if you're tapped in, sometimes it does feel like you're kind of out on an island because there's something that you're creating that's coming deeply from your heart. Only you can know really specifically what is in your heart and what it looks like. And sometimes I know a lot of us are misunderstood, and it's hard. It's challenging sometimes to find somebody who can understand and really guide you in the right way. One thing that I want to impart to you about this is really seek guidance in just an aspect. You might not find a guide that will be able to really help you with your whole vision come to light. it's okay to just get guidance on one aspect of what it is that you're doing. For example, like when I first started creating online classes, my first online class was like attract your soulmate, eventually it turned into Juicy Love Life, but it was like, magnetizing your soulmate or something like that. And I knew the content, I knew what I wanted to deliver, I knew how I wanted people to feel, and I knew that there were specific skills that I wanted people to walk away with when they finished the class. But I didn't know about like how to put it actually online. I'm still, now with all the tech that I've used, I still didn't quite know how to like make it technically work and deliver it, right? Because I had clients from around the world, so it couldn't be in person. It needs to be like everybody can access it. And so I found somebody, like I was like, I need guidance. And I found the whole aspect of me not really understanding how to do the technology part of it made me feel like I was stalling in the whole dream of getting it out there, because I knew that it needed to be this way. I just didn't know how to do it. And so it actually like put roadblocks in front of me. And so I found somebody to help me, and I started studying it, and I found somebody to help me specifically on what I was delivering, how to deliver it in a creative way, in a way that was easy and accessible for people. And it was easy for me to create. I found someone to help me teach that one aspect. It was just like this one brick that I needed for this house that I was building, basically. I got that one brick, they taught me how to do it, and poof, it just like helped. It was like the one thing I needed, and then I was able to do, that whole class. And then I was able to, my learning just like blossomed. It wasn't linear, it just like blossomed into understanding certain technologies to get my work out there. So when you're looking for that guide, allow it to be just one aspect. Make it simple. I know a lot of you out there, creators, givers, people who have big dreams and visions, it's hard sometimes to make things to allow things to be simple. Simplify it. You don't need all the bells and the whistles. Like, you are going to continue on the journey. It's not going to end once you create this thing. You're just going to keep going. When we manifest something, it's just a point. It's just like one point on like a continuing journey. So I hope that was helpful for you today. Please, if you liked this reading, come check out the new moon reading. I do a new moon reading every single month. This month, the title is Receiving Ancestral Gifts and Personal Spiritual Power. It's still out there. It's good for another 2 weeks. You can pay what you can to join. And we go through like the affirmations, and we also go talk about some of the moon magic that can help you with drawing in that spiritual power and being able to use it for what it is that you're creating, especially right now, especially in the fall. This is the time when the veil comes back and our ancestors are even closer to us in this dimension. It is the perfect time to be familiarizing yourself to start a relationship that works on your terms with your ancestors. We talk about, sometimes people are scared of working with their ancestors because they know who their ancestors are, and it might not be the best experience. They might have had the best experiences, or they might not have been the best people. But remember that you have you have a whole long bloodline of amazing people. There are amazing people there, and there are gifts for you. They have gifts for you, and they have support for you and protection for you. And it's time. I promise you, when you look at these systems and you look at these people doing evil in the world and creating chaos and confusion, they are also working with ancestral power. They're working with it in an evil way. They're working with it in a shadow way, right? It's another reason for us. It's so important for us to work in a light way, in a healing way, in a rebalancing way with our ancestors and our ancestral power. You have access to that. Whoever you are, if you're hearing this, you have access to that. So please do check out that new moon reading. I will put it somewhere, in the link of this of this video, and you can find it easily on my website, moongardentemple.com. Let me know how this lands for you, this reading. Let me know how it lands for you. I'm interested to know. I love you all. My name is Iworiosa. You can find me at moongardentemple.com. I love you all. Okay, see ya.